So my name's Deborah Goodall. I'm a fellow of the Chartered Institute of Marketing. I run a marketing consultancy just based in North Yorkshire. I've got sort of 25 years more experience in marketing. And in that time, I've worked across, a huge range of sectors and different businesses. And in this session, we're just simply going to look at the key types of digital marketing, sort of the options that are available to you. So do you guys just want to do a quick intro on who you are and what your business is? Ian, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'm an operations manager for CTS. We do examinations of pressure systems, cranes, lifting equipment under the relevant regulations like LOLA or PSSR. And we cover mainly Cumbria, the northeast, but do go up at the central belt in Scotland, probably down to Birmingham every now and then.
Okay, I think we've lost.
So it's quite varied.
Okay, quite varied. Excellent. Okay, so we've lost Hannah, so you're getting a one-to-one session now.
She's coming back in.
Oh, is she? Let's wait for her. Connecting to audio.
We've got Christine coming in as well.
Okay. Hi, Hannah. Rural broadband. Hi, Hannah. Can you hear us? You're on mute. Can you unmute yourself?
Yes, sorry, I closed my laptop to come into a different room, and everything went black and I completely lost the connection. So
brilliant. We're just doing quick intros, Hannah. You've not missed anything. So do you just want to tell us which business you're with, whereabouts you're based, that kind of thing?
yeah, so I work for Playdale Playgrounds. I'm the marketing team leader, and we manufacture and install outdoor playground equipment, and we're based in Haverthwaite in Cumbria.
Nice. I like it down that bit. Okay, Christine, hi. Can you hear us? Do you want to take yourself off mute?
Yes, I can hear you.
Hi, do you want to do a quick intro, Christine? Who you are, business, where you're based, that kind of thing?
No, I haven't started actually. I'm just planning.
No,
what's planning to start a business. I'm based in Sydney.
Okay. Okay, what business are you planning?
Crafts, arts and crafts.
Arts and crafts, okay. Okie dokie, right. So, why is my mouse not working? Okay, so learning outcomes today. So we will look at, exactly what digital marketing is, what the role of digital marketing is in the promotional mix. We'll run through all the different types of marketing, digital types of marketing available, and then sort of at the end look at actually getting started to build your plan. Just to kind of frame what's going on in the UK at the moment, I've sort of pulled this together about digital adoption in the UK and kind of how it's changed over the last 18 months or so, because there's certainly been an acceleration of adoption of digital, of tech and of different platforms as a result of the pandemic. So the number of households in Great Britain that had internet access continues to grow, and this is obviously up to February 2020. I did read something yesterday that said there were something like 98% of households in Great Britain now. So it is growing, and there's very few households left that don't have internet access. 87% of all adults in Great Britain shopped online in the previous 12 months to February 2020. And again, we're waiting for the figures to be released for sort of the 12 months to February 2021, which will give us a picture of how things have changed during COVID. But most common purchases have been sort of clothes and shoes, accessories, followed by deliveries from restaurants, sort of like those fast foods, you know, Deliveroo type things, catering services. And people are now starting to use smart speakers or apps to access the internet, rather than necessarily being sat in front of a screen. So there's audio search taking place, rather than just you know, typing. Deloitte's Digital Consumer Trends report, which was published in December 2020. Is that right? Yes, December 2020. So they found that 40% of people did more shopping online during lockdown, which, you know, you would almost expect because you couldn't go to the store. However, the interesting thing is to think about actually how that will change over a longer basis. So have people made a permanent switch to online shopping, or was it just a temporary a move during lockdown? 14% of people had remote appointments with health practitioners. Again, you might be like, well, why should you put that in here? This is, you know, about commercial business. I think really, I find that a really interesting statistic, that something as conventional as seeing your doctor is now taking place over video, you know, or your smartphone or whatever. And it's almost been that we've been forced to adopt this technology to interact with health practitioners, you know, which typically would be that ring up, you know, get past the receptionist, get an appointment, wait 2 weeks, and it's accelerated that whole process. But also it's meant that we've had to adopt technology to do something that is actually quite normal. And it's whether that again will tip over into different industries, whether now there will be an expectation for more phone or video appointments. Commercially, you know, do you really need to go face to face? Obviously, you know, we're doing this over Zoom today, which feels totally normal these days. So there's obviously been more online socialization take place during the last 18 months. And the sort of recent figures also show that consumers have started to reflect during those 18 months. And the key things that are coming out is that people are making more environmentally sustainable choices, or healthier choices for their lifestyle. And their intention is to continue with that post lockdown, post pandemic, whatever. So being locked down for however long it was, I don't know, it just seems such a long time. Expectations of consumers have shifted, but also they've had time to reflect. And so that's whether you are dealing direct to consumer or business to business, you know, that individual has had time to reflect on the way that they conduct their life, has had time to reflect on the things that are important to them. And it might tip over into that business to business environment as well. So there's going to be lots more talk about sustainability, you know, because it's going to be one of those influencers that people have had time to think about sort of during lockdown, and it's going to impact choices that they make, whether at work or at home. So this digital acceleration over the past 18 months, it is important that you do remember, even if you are business to business, that you are talking to humans, sort of real people with real emotions. And one of the other findings from the Deloitte report was that brands need to more than ever understand that consumers' desires, fears, and also brands need to personalize the experience of selling through every interaction. So taking that adoption of technology to smooth out processes, but still keep it personal. So it's not about being distant from your customers. It's about interacting with them on a person-to-person basis, but using digital technology to help you make that journey. Yeah, so I think lockdown usage really is just kind of like speeded up a lot of things, you know, so we've been forced to adopt lots of digital that maybe we'd have been resistant to in the past. And I guess the sort of grandparent generation are a perfect example of that. You know, they would not have been on Facebook previously. During lockdown, got a Facebook account to keep in touch with the grandkids predominantly. And people do tend to sort of then try and use that to reach that audience. But you've got to remember what the motivations were of the people to actually, you know, join Facebook. And it was to stay in touch with the grandkids, not to be bombarded with sales message from brands. They're not likely to engage with brands and businesses in the same way that a younger generation does. Okay, so digital marketing. So what is digital marketing? So really, anything that you as a business put out there online is effectively digital marketing. Anything that promotes your business or mentions your business, or anything that anybody else puts out there that might influence somebody's decision or perception of your business, all forms your digital footprint, and it's all part of your digital marketing activity. Sometimes it's referred to as e-marketing, sometimes it's online marketing. You know, anything online on the internet is basically digital marketing. It's no more confusing than that. I think there's a tendency by some marketers to try and make it super complicated, and it isn't. So it includes all sorts of different things. We are going to go through these in a lot more detail kind of in the second half of this session, but search engine marketing, social media, emails. So, you know, it's using digital technology, but it's not actually on the internet per se. Your website, any digital advertising that you do, any online brochures, you know, any digital brochures that you send out that people can kind of flick through. The list goes on. It's almost endless. You know, there's all sorts of things you could be doing. We're going to talk about what you guys are doing shortly. So in terms of the role of digital marketing, brand awareness, acquisition or lead generation, and growth from existing customers or customer retention. So brand awareness, what do I mean by that? So making people know, or letting people know about your business or what brands you have. So it could be that they read something on the internet about your business, or they might see an advert, but they're not necessarily making a purchase or getting in touch. Sort of classic stuff for things like that is mainly for established brands, you know, as kind of a suggestion in your mind that you might want to purchase it maybe next time you go to the supermarket or whatever. So think about, you know, stuff like Original Source shower gel. There's no direct call to action, but you might see their adverts every now and again on different pages, and it's just getting that message into your mind that it's available. Acquisition or lead generation, so customer acquisition, so people actually buy in directly online, or lead generation, so making inquiries, so filling out contact forms. Are you guys both business to business? Yeah, and it's nodding. Yeah. So I guess that you're more sort of lead generation orientated with your marketing activity. Yeah. And then there's also potential for using digital for growth from existing customers, or to, you know, retain them. You might use things like e-marketing, so emails to kind of like build relationships with customers if they're buying more than once. I guess if you're doing inspections and examinations in on crane equipment and stuff, they'll be on an inspection schedule, won't they? They'll need doing every year, 2 years, whatever, don't know. So there's an opportunity there for you to be using email to remind people when their inspection is due, But then you might do an interim email, you know, on any maintenance that might be required. I've no idea. I don't know anything about cranes. They're just big and sit on the skyline. So there's kind of opportunities for customer retention and customer acquisition. And in that way, really, it's no different to the role of offline marketing or traditional marketing. And I think the important thing also to remember is that it is important to think about integrating your activity on and offline. So digital doesn't replace traditional. It's like they sit side by side, and they should meet up. So some of your offline activity might send people to your website or might send people to your social pages. And it's about getting those messages to be clear all the way through the customer journey. So I would never totally recommend that someone just goes online and just does digital marketing. I think there's always an opportunity for integration, and it might be that, you know, if you're going for a customer retention program that you do, you might mail them something. You might send them an email. There might be a bit of telemarketing in there. There might be appointments for visits. You know, you might be doing traditional relationship building. So it is important just to kind of think, actually, what are the opportunities, and then what's going to work for my audience, rather than just going, right, let's just look at digital. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So it's kind of over to you guys, really. So what are you guys doing at the moment in terms of your digital marketing activity? So I've like listed out a few there, which, like I say, we're going to go into in more detail in the second half of this. But what have you adopted already, or have you? You might not have done.
We're just updating the website at the moment, so we're just starting to go through all these. But at the moment, not that much. Just an old dated website. Okay.
So does your website, is it there for lead gen and for validation offer? Yeah.
Yeah, and potentially sales in the future.
Oh, okay. Oh, I suppose so like people could book their inspection online or something. Or parts sales.
Well, potentially like parts or slings and ancillaries. So we might look at that.
Okay. And Hannah?
Yeah, just looking through that list, we do a lot of them types of marketing with our digital marketing agency. So we work with and alongside a digital marketing agency to do most of sort of the SEO and the sort of the content marketing side of things. I don't think I've ever heard of affiliate marketing.
Oh, affiliate marketing, yeah. So, well, I'm like I said, I'm going to go through later on, but yeah, basically, it's like a third-party system. So you really define your target audience, and then you work with like an affiliate marketing agent, and they will place your adverts on websites that get the same sort of traffic that you're after. Okay. And then if you get traffic coming through to your website, they monitor where it's all come from, and there'll be some sort of kickback, either on sale or on generation. So yeah. Brilliant. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi. You all right there?
Yes, I'm good, thank you. Sorry, I was a wee bit late.
No, it's fine. Do you want to do just a quick on where you're from, on what your business
Yeah,
is?
sure. I'm Sarah Allison. I'm the project manager for Cumbria Innovations platform. I wear two hats actually. So my day job is with Cumbria Innovations platform. It's a project that the University of Cumbria is offering with partners Lancaster University to support small businesses with all things innovation. Oh. Small business growth, innovation, new product, new service support. But I also have my own coaching practice as well, daily coaching. And I provide business coaching, transformative coaching, life coaching, anything where a change is required. So I wear two hats. And from my project perspective, we do use social media. Well, I use LinkedIn quite a lot to promote events and opportunities.
Mhm.
We do have a website, and it's not very good. I've got to say, it's pretty awful. And we use MailChimp.
Oh, yeah.
Or sales, I think it's Sales Cloud now. We've moved away from MailChimp to send out, newsletters, and invitations to people. I don't think we're brilliant at it.
Okay.
I think it could be better. I think some of the messages get lost, and hence I'm here today. But for my own business as well, a lot of this is new to me. I'm still at the point where I'm thinking about which platform is best for a coaching practice. Is it Facebook? Is it Instagram? Is it LinkedIn? What do I need to have on my website? It's kind of half built but not quite finished. I've had lots of issues trying to get it even to where it is right now.
It's a familiar story with websites.
Yeah. So
Okay.
what do I want it to do? Do I want it just to be a platform to advertise on, or do I want it to be interactive, or do I want people to be able to book sessions on it? How do I get the message across? What's the best route?
Okay.
Sorry, that's 101 questions.
That's 101 questions. Yeah, it is. So this session this morning, Sarah, is just kind of like an overview of digital marketing options and sort of the basics on pulling together, getting you to start and think about sort of pulling together a digital strategy. There are other webinars running, which I hope you've signed up for in this program. So like next week's like all about getting your marketing plan together. And then there's one on like attracting people to your website, and there's one on social media, that sort of thing. And I think if you did the whole series, you'd get the answers to your questions, to be honest. So get signed up. There's one for you, Janet. She's wants all of them. So this is just like a get you thinking, get you aware of what the options are, and and then the other ones go into a lot more detail. So I mean, you're right to mention website. Ian said that they're sort of on updating their website, and it is sort of the key part of the digital marketing is to think about that end bit. So sort of begin with the end in mind. So where are you going to send people? And if you're promoting your business, are you sending them to a website, or are you sending them to a Facebook page? Or, once they've got there, what's the expectation? Are they going to fill out a contact form? Are you going to sell them something straight away? Do you want them to ring you? Have you got your telephone number in a prominent place? So is your website, my first question to you is your website fit for purpose? So what is the purpose of your website? Ian, because you're redoing yours.
Information to potential clients, I suppose,
Right.
What we do, and it probably isn't at the moment, and keeping it active, up to date, which it isn't at the moment. Okay.
So when you say information to potential clients, are you expecting potential clients to find your website, say through search or whatever other digital marketing activity you've got going on, and then make contact with you?
Yes, see the services we offer, and then they make contact. Right.
Okay. So it's not a case of they won't have heard of your business beforehand. It's not like salespeople out there. It's not a validation thing.
Sometimes, yeah.
Sometimes, okay.
Yeah, probably a combination of both.
Okay. But you say it's not fit for purpose at the moment.
No, it's when you look at similar companies, it's quite dated.
Okay.
It's quite dated, and I think that's quite important, because the whole thing looks dated straight away.
Yeah. Also, if you're after validation and lead generation, then it needs to be really obvious. I mean, obviously I've not looked at your website, so I've no idea what they are. Really obvious from the moment that you land on that website that that's actually what you want people to do. You know, if you're putting out validation messages, then it needs to be really clear that that is what you are doing. So you start off by saying that you know what you're doing, or your business knows what you're doing. So you validate it all the way through. If it's about lead generation, then it's almost a case of you need that contact form, or you need the contact details, and you need messages all the way through that say that you want people to contact you, or you want them to learn more. So you take them on a journey through your website. Yeah. Is yours similar, Hannah? What would you say that yours is fit for purpose?
Yeah, I think as is fit for purpose, it's mainly for lead generation. So we sell playground equipment, but it's not something that can be sold online or sort of straight away. They need to go through a process of meeting with our area managers, having surveys done, having plans done. So it's quite a lengthy process.
Yeah.
So the first part of call, we would say it's like a lead generation, and then it's more of sort of an informative and inspiration page as well. So we have like lots of obviously playground pictures of like new completed sites. We do a blog a week for SEO purposes that obviously gives customers information and that they might not necessarily know about school playground equipment, or how playground equipment can help sort of confidence and stuff like that. So first of all, it's lead generation, and then I say it's like an informational and inspirational page.
Okay. And Sarah. So yours is in progress at the moment, your website. Yeah, you're on mute again.
Sorry, I'm trying to manage 3 screens at the moment, and my cursor disappears off into the distance. I suppose it's part information about what I do, what the service, why people use coaches, the benefits, so there is, I suppose, perhaps a problem statement there to start with. So it's telling people why coaching, what would you need it for, what does it do, the benefits, what problem will it solve, and there's obviously a little bit about myself, but not reams and reams, because I think people like to know who you are and like your qualifications, and they like to know that you're not crazy. Helps. And I think there's little bits on testimony, pricing, and some blog features on there as well, if my memory serves me right, and a little bit about each service that I provide, because it's a portfolio of services. And it's information giving, I suppose.
Yeah. And when you think about your website, do you think that it's obvious from that first page that you want people to get in touch? So have you got strong calls to action or contact form on that first page?
Do you know, I don't know if there is on this revised version. There was. Yeah. It was the first box that popped up.
Yeah.
And it felt clumsy.
Yeah. So quite often what you find with marketeers is that we like stuff to look really good. So sometimes we compromise on the bit between getting the business in and it looking really nice, but actually the primary thing is to get the business in. So if it's a lead gen site, then you need to be getting people's contact details pretty quickly. If it's if it's there for sales, then you want to be directing people to a shop. If it's just there for validation, then it's all about why what you offer is the best in your field. So be really clear on what your expectation is, on what you think people are going to do, or what you want people to do. The other thing with your website is to have a goal or objective in mind for your website, because ultimately you're going to have to measure it somehow, because it's fine investing into a website, you know, like I guess you can get a website for, I don't know, 500 quid through to thousands and thousands of pounds, you know. I'm gonna have to shut this because it's now so sunny in Yorkshire. I can't see. But you need to measure what's coming from it, and you need to be able to measure whether your digital marketing activity is working. So it's important to kind of, you know, you start with, right, where am I sending people? I'm sending them to my website, that's fine. But then what's your actual goal and objective? Do you have goals or objectives for what's going to come through on that website? Hannah, come on, I feel like you probably do.
Yes, so we our sort of goals and objectives are leads that come through from our website. So we measure, I think we have maybe 6 or 7 different types of contact form on our website.
Right.
But the main one we measure is catalogue requests.
Right. Okay.
So I have targets every month that of catalogue requests and also website visitors. So we track how many website visitors and obviously get your conversion rates from them. So there are main types of objectives that we look at.
Perfect. Yeah, brilliant. Ian, this might be a revelation to you, is it? I feel.
Yeah, it is a bit. Obviously, leads is the main thing we'd like to get, but at the moment we're not recording anything.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, we've got nothing. We haven't got a clue what the website's doing, and probably not much.
Okay. Yeah. So you know, it's not unusual. I mean, to be honest, you know, it's quite unusual to have a business like Hannah's business on where they're already recording, you know, different types of contact forms, catalogue requests, conversion rates, stuff like that. Typically, I'd be talking to businesses and they'd be like, yeah, we've got this website. You know, don't know really what it does, don't know what comes through it. But if you're wanting your digital marketing activity to drive traffic to your website, then you need to know where you're at the moment, obviously, you know, in terms of like visits or inquiry forms that have been filled out, so that you can then see whether the time and effort and money that you're putting into your digital marketing activity is actually having any impact. You know, because you might spend loads of time on your social media and you sort of think, oh, well, it doesn't matter because it's not cost me anything. Well, actually, it's cost you time when you could have been doing something that would be income generating. You might spend loads of money on Google Ads, but if you don't know whether that's driving traffic to your website or what your normal level of inquiries are through your website, then how do you know if there's been an uplift? Do you know what I mean? So, yeah. Have you got Google Analytics on your website? Do you know, Ian?
Not at the moment, no. It's going to be with the new one, but at the moment we haven't got anything. Yeah,
so it's quite important to have Google Analytics on the back end, so that you can start and track all of this information all the way through. So once you've kind of got that goal and objective, then how would you know if you'd achieved it? So Ian, for example, might say, okay, we want 15 leads. So you want 15 contact forms filling out a month. But then you've got to think, well, actually you want 15 good quality contact forms filling out a month. So what's your typical conversion rate in your business from inquiry through to sale? I don't know, let's say, I can't do 15, let's say it's 50%. So you get 7.5 people placing an order with you, so let's say 8. So then you can start to get this funnel going of, right, I know I'm going to get this many inquiries, this is what my conversion rate is. If my conversion rate goes down, then the quality of those inquiries that are coming through, there's something wrong with them. So you're either attracting the wrong people, or you're presenting the wrong message, or the wrong call to action, or the wrong service, or the wrong products. You've got it in the wrong place and you're getting the wrong people making inquiries. So you need to have your metrics in place to be able to know if your digital or any marketing activity really is performing for you. You know, it might be that you get 15 inquiries and your conversion rate goes up to 70%. Well, brilliant. That's absolutely fantastic because you're getting all the right people coming through your website. Yeah. Can you see why this all sort of fits together?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, definitely, Sarah, have you got Google Analytics on your website?
Yeah, we'll have, yeah.
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 I'm guessing Hannah will. She's going to nod now, isn't she? Yeah. So yeah, definitely get Google Analytics on the back. So Google Analytics currently, this is just an aside. So there's two versions of Google Analytics running. There's Universal Analytics and there's Google Analytics 4. If you are new to Google Analytics, then put Google Analytics 4 on, because that's the one that's going to go forward. Sarah, on your website, you might have, Hannah, on your website, you might have Universal Analytics on the back, I guess.
I'm not too sure, actually.
Has it been on there for like donkeys?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you'll have Universal. What you can do is also add Google Analytics 4, so that when they switch off Universal Analytics, you don't lose the data. So you've already got like that history in there, because they're not going to take the data from Universal into Google Analytics 4. So it's the same process, you know, that you do. In fact, if you go into your Google Analytics currently, there's a little banner across the top that says something about Google Analytics 4. You can get the code and you can run them both at the same time.
Okay.
So
That's
it's worth doing, just so that you get that bank of information coming through. If you're just starting with new websites, you've not had Google Analytics before, then just start on Google Analytics 4, because there's no benefit in getting used to Universal and switching over. So for Ian and Sarah, go with Google Analytics 4. But Hannah, yeah, I find, because I've used Google Analytics for, you know, it feels like centuries. I'm not a massive fan of the new one, but I think that's because I'm like, oh my God, it's not in the right place. But yeah, definitely kind of build up that bank of data so that you can get all those history graphs and stuff over time.
Brilliant, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so get your kind of objectives, your goals and objectives, and then think about actually how you're going to measure it and what's that pathway, and are you looking at conversion rates? Yeah. Looking thoughtful, Sarah. Does it make sense?
Yeah, a lot of information to take. It's really useful though.
Yeah, good.
Yeah, really useful.
Okay, so sort of aligned to measurement a bit is kind of having your budget. So think about how much you're prepared to invest into your digital marketing or your marketing generally. And don't just look at the financial cost. Particularly if you're sort of self-employed, take into account the amount of time it's going to take you to do something, because that's time you could be delivering or invoiceable time. So there is a cost attached to time, basically what I'm saying. It's also important to understand your cost per acquisition. So what's the profit in the item that you're selling, and how much can you afford to spend to acquire a customer? Now, I'm thinking that Ian's and Hannah's are probably quite big ticket items, would imagine. Yeah. So
yeah, it depends on the clients.
But you're not talking, you know, like it's not like you're selling something for £5 and you're going to be doing something on Google AdWords that is £3 to acquire that customer. So have you just chewed all your profit out on acquisition? So generally with big ticket items, I hate to say it, but you can be a little bit more blasé about cost per acquisition. But it is important to try and understand actually how much it does cost you to acquire a customer. And then think about, actually, are they only buying once? So is that a genuine cost for acquisition? So in some situations, in some businesses, it might be that the cost to acquire the customer for the first sale is more than the profit in the first sale. And it might be more than the profit in the second sale as well. But if you know that, you know, they come back and they're super loyal, then you know that on sales 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you are just making money then your cost, you know that you can spend more to acquire that customer because they're worth it. The lifetime value of that customer is significantly more than the cost to acquire. Yeah. And then think about actually how much is it going to cost you to retain them? So is there investment into email marketing? Are you doing ad remarketing? Are you paying an agency to look after your customers in a digital format? So try and split your budgeting into acquisition and retention activity, you know? So with Hannah's business, for example, you were sending out brochures. It might be that that's very much part of your acquisition strategy, but it might also be that that's part of your retention strategy. So people might they might have to change playgrounds, I don't know, or they might add more to the playground every 3 years or something. So you might be sending them a catalogue every 3 years, for example. So how much is that catalogue? How much is their second purchase? Are you sending them to your website? Are you then doing ad remarketing? So what is the actual retention cost for that second purchase? Yeah. There's a lot of maths in marketing. I was like, what? But it is an important part to think about actually how much can I spend to get that customer and how much can I spend to retain that customer? Yeah. Does that make sense? You weren't expecting this, were you, on a digital marketing intro? It's like, no, we just wanted to know about SEO. Right, so that's what we're coming to now, is the techniques available to you. So in terms of making choices about which digital technique to use, the key driver on that decision is your customer and your customer's behaviour. Now, I'm delivering a webinar next week on this programme. I think it's next week. So I was quickly looking at our diary.
Effective marketing plan.
Yeah, it's how to do. Thank you, Janet. I'm like, oh, is it next week? Yeah, on a good marketing plan or an effective marketing plan. And in that, I talk a lot about understanding who your target audience is, because all of your marketing activity, all of that promotional activity should be driven by who your customer is, not by what you think you fancy doing. Because if you are, if you're targeting people in the wrong place, then you will never get a result. Yeah, so you have to think about where are they, and where are they in the right mindset. So I go back to my grandparents, not my grandparents, they're long dead, but you know, grandparents being on Facebook to stay in touch with little Johnny and seeing his first steps. They're not on Facebook to buy things. They're not on Facebook to follow brands. They're not on Facebook to you know, subscribe to Damart, Thermal, whatever's catalogue list. They're on Facebook literally to stay in touch with little Johnny and watch him walk across the room the first time. Yeah. So think about where they hang out and their mindsets. But like I said, we talk a lot about that next week. So now we're just going to run through like the different digital marketing techniques at sort of quite a superficial level. Some of these we go into in more detail in subsequent webinars. So search engine optimization. So being found on, and I always say Google, and actually what I mean is search engines. It's a bit like Hoovers, isn't it? Hoovers and vacuums. So with search engine optimization, what you're after really is improving the rank of your results when people search for terms related to your offer. Do you guys know where you rank at the moment and what you rank for?
Yeah.
Go on.
Only because we've got someone doing the website, so he's gone through it, and it's not very good at the moment. It's
Okay,
not bad in Cumbria. But,
okay, so are people searching for your business name, or are they searching for the service that you offer?
The service we offer.
Okay, that's pretty good. Yeah. Okay, Hannah, how are you ranking?
So I just checked this morning because rankings are quite a big thing for us. We're currently sat at 3rd on desktop and 4th on mobile for playground equipment.
Okay, very good. Yeah.
We do have a lot of other sort of keywords that we use, but the main keyword that we use is playground equipment.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Sarah, have you?
I'm not live on my site yet.
Not
It's
live
still
on
in,
it yet.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, but the person that's developing it for me is pretty hot on SEO stuff, getting the right wording for the audience that you want to attract. So, you know, it's something that I've been thinking about
Yeah.
recently.
So from an SEO point of view, and you say you guys pretty hot on what to use, think about how your customer would describe what you offer, because they might not use words that you offer.
Yeah, and I mean, it's a good point, a really good point, because people call it different things, and it's different for everybody. You know, it could be coaching therapy,
Yeah,
or coaching counselling.
yeah, because you said that you did like transformative coaching, which, you know, would be quite a niche.
It is, and my training, it does. It is more of a therapy. I am traditionally trained as a coach, but I'm also trained within a particular style of therapy as well. So it's both, and kind of getting that right combination.
Yeah. Just think about actually those customers. What words would they use to describe what you offer?
Yeah,
you know. So it's not always what you think people are looking for, which, you know, sounds a bit odd. The other thing with search engine optimization is to think about actually what is the intent of the person making the search. So are they doing research, or are they at that sort of transactional / commercial search? So it might be, so I've got a very sort of simple example here, which, you know, you may be able to translate into your business environment. So a simple example of this is that you might want to buy candles, or you might be a candle retailer. If you're a candle retailer, it's going to be really difficult to come up against the likes of John Lewis, who are going to dominate in that area, and sort of Yankee Candle. But that might be my start point for researching as a consumer. You know, I want to buy candles, and then you do a bit of reading, you think, oh, well, actually what I want is some candles that are local to me, you know, so I want to support some local businesses, which goes back to this whole consumers shifting to sustainable, healthy options, that sort of stuff. So I start searching candles North Yorkshire. I'm still doing research, and then, you know, I read a bit about some of these, and they talk a lot about soy wax candles. So I'm like, actually, do you know what I'm looking for is a soy wax candle that's made in North Yorkshire. And then you start and get a different set of results, really, from where you started from. I'm pointing at my screen like you can see it. So you're not going to, as a business, you're not going to go up very well against John Lewis. But once people get to this transactional type search, where they've refined what they're looking for because they've done their bits of research, you can start and stand out as a smaller business, you know, like Alexandra Handmade, or Vokes of York, or Halo Soy Wax Candle. So by that point, your searcher is in a much more transactional search than just research. Now, it might be, some of this depends on how competitive the terms are that you're going for. I mean, actually, to be honest, there probably is a number of competitors to inspections on crane equipment, I would think. It's going to be relatively, but, you know, to be able to stand out against some of them, are people going to be looking for whatever the specific certification is, you know, that they're after? If they're repeating, are they putting that in rather than just crane inspection or annual inspection or whatever? They're looking for like blah, blah, blah. Yeah, they'll
look under the regulation or the area, Cumbria.
Yeah. So think about optimizing your website for search terms that are going to lead to the contact form being filled out or the purchase being made, kind of depending on what your business model is. Yeah. So it's not always just about optimizing for the really general terms. Sometimes you need to be a bit more specific, but do try and think about it from that sort of customer point of view. What will they be searching for? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. The other things with search engine optimization, I mean, sort of Hannah mentioned that they're doing blogging once a week, which does help with your search engine optimization. So Google likes fresh content. What they're looking for is that you establish yourself with expertise, authority, and trust, and having fresh content on there that answers questions that people are looking for answers for on the internet can help you with your SEO. But sort of your expertise and authority and trust can also come from memberships of particular associations or accreditations. You know, like Sarah's probably got some certifications to say that she's a qualified coach in this area, or she's can do therapy in this area, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So having all of those on your website, but also having the links from those granting websites back to your website, validate that you are an expert and that authority is coming through. Things like trust comes from Google reviews, or even sort of social signals, you know, so if you've got reviews on LinkedIn or are mentioned on different platforms, that can all contribute to your rankings as well. So it's not just about having keywords optimized in your website. It's kind of a mash of lots of different things, including technical stuff like how fast your website loads, whether your images are optimized, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like probably the most complicated bit of digital marketing SEO. Do you farm all your SEO out, Hannah?
Yeah, so a lot of it's done by our digital marketing agency, and then obviously like the blog side of it is something that I do myself. So it's like shared between us. Yeah.
It is quite a sort of technical aspect of marketing, to be honest. And I think it's the bit that the CIM were saying last year was the bit that most marketeers felt least confident about was SEO. And I think it's because Google being whatever, change their sort of algorithms quite frequently. So you need to be really on it to be ranking. Right, okay, we've done SEO. Social media. So social media, obviously, again, be led by your target audience as to which platforms you're using. It's not necessarily just your page where people are looking for your product or service. People are also using social media for search/research purposes. So with my example here, you know, people might be looking for holiday cottages. They might be looking for holiday cottages where they can take their dog. You know, they might be using things like TripAdvisor to find things to do. TripAdvisor is another platform for social media. I know it's not relevant for any of you three, but really it's about understanding where your target audiences are when they are looking for your products or services, and when they're in that mindset for purchasing or researching those product or services as well. So, you know, playground stuff. In fact, to be honest, I don't really see any of you on Facebook. You might have a Facebook page, Hannah, do you?
Yeah, we've sort of all social media, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest,
right,
YouTube, all managed all by myself.
Oh my
Quite a lot
God.
of work to take on, but it's interesting.
Yeah. So the other thing to kind of think about is it's not always the really obvious sort of top 4 or 5 social media platforms that you should be using. I was doing some consultancy with a physiotherapy practice last week, and they really wanted to target sports people, and they're one of the partners in the business, massively into running, and we were talking about sort of all the sort of offline opportunities, and then we were talking about using Strava, which is like a social media platform for people who do exercise and want to track where they've been or whatever. And so it's not always the really obvious places, so with them we were talking about setting up like the name of their physio segment as it went past their door. Could they have a mile, could they have a club or a group on there, and sort of just thinking about things from a slightly different point of view. Their target audience would be on Strava, and they would see all of that because they would sort of hyper local. So don't just fall into the trap of we've got to be on Facebook, we've got to be on Instagram, we've got to be on YouTube, whatever. Really think about, where is my target audience hanging out and what are they doing? Yeah. Okay. Oh, Janet's popped up. We have got 90 minutes, haven't we?
If everybody's happy with it, we do. We have. Yeah, carry on. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I was like, no, we definitely changed the length of these.
Yeah, I'm going to have to leave now.
Oh no, Sarah.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. And it's such a good workshop, but I've got another meeting that I need to get into. Will this be recorded? I heard
it is, Sarah. They're all recorded, so you can catch up on the last bit, and then you and I can have a conversation about picking up the coaching one-to-one support as well. When you're
thanks,
ready.
Janet.
All right. Take care.
Yeah, that would be
See you
wonderful.
next week, Sarah. Get booked on.
Yes, I will. Thank you so much. I'm really sorry I've got to leave. It's just a bit manic here at the minute.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Bye.
Okay, so moving swiftly on. I was a bit surprised to see Janet pop up there. I'm like, I'm sure I've got 90 minutes. Right, so content marketing. So this is either on your own sites. So Hannah was saying she blogs once a week on their site, or on other sites. So it might be that you get editorial in publications related to your sector, or it might be that you're listed where people might be searching for what you offer. So it's not necessarily just on your site, but in other places around the internet, sort of editorial content or listings, but things that will then drive people to your website. Yeah. Effectively, it's kind of just like online editorial, online PR. If you're doing your own blog content for your own website, that's fine, but don't forget to kind of work out your own distribution plan for that as well. So if you're blogging about something, that's fine that it's on your website, but don't forget to kind of share it on your social platforms. If you're talking about other people or other businesses, tag them in so you get that extended reach. Can you send it to any key contacts or associates and get them to share it out through their email list? Try and think about maximizing the value from anything that you're doing on your own website. Or equally, if you get something covered in a trade publication, then do the same with that. Think about the distribution plan for actually making sure that you maximize that opportunity. So are you sending that out to potential clients? Are you sharing that on social media? Are you sending it to your salespeople? Do they know that you featured? And then they can talk about it when they're having meetings. So all the time, just think about maximizing the opportunity. But again, it's about knowing where your target audience hang out. What will they be reading online that you can then target to get coverage in? Yeah. Do you do all of those? Do you distribute your blogs across loads of different stuff, Hannah?
We do them across social media. So we'll do sort of one blog post a week on the blog that we've done. And we also send out e-newsletters to sort of our MailChimp subscribers. Apart from that, I like the idea of sort of distributing it to a sort of a wider market. We do, we're a member of the API, which is the Association of Play Industries. And when we do like a big case study or sort of a big playground project, that's the kind of things if we've got like a big case study, we'll send it to them to put on their website. But apart from that, we don't really do sort of any other sort of distribution. So that's definitely something that I'll be looking into in the near future to do.
Yeah, it's just about kind of, again, it's like you've put all that effort in, let's get the most out of it. You know, and also, you know, like you say, sort of repurposing it for other things. Fantastic, get it out there. Do you do any content marketing at the moment, Ian?
No, we have done a blog infrequently in the past, but nothing at the moment.
Yeah,
Nothing
I think the thing with blogs, I mean, Hannah, obviously shining example, doing hers once a week, fantastic. What I always say to my clients who tend to be in sort of smaller businesses is you've got to do something that's realistic for your business, and in some cases that might just be once every couple of months. You know, if it's not realistic to do it once a week and you've probably not got stuff to talk about once a week, then don't set yourself the target of writing a blog once a week, because you'll do it twice and then you'll get really hacked off, and it just won't happen again. And I'd rather see that clients were like, right, I'm going to do this every 6 weeks, and then they might do it every 6 to 8 weeks. And I'm like, do you know what? That's a really great result. You've got fresh content on your website. You're answering questions. You're sharing it around the internet. Brilliant. And then, you know, once you've got into the scheme of doing it, well, let's make that a little bit shorter. What's the impact on the traffic to your website? What's the impact on the number of inquiries coming through? Has it really made any difference? And if the answer is no, then go back to once every 2 months or whatever it was you were doing, once every 6 weeks, 2 months, because there's no real benefit to your business for doing it a short period of time, you know. So all the time, it's like test and measure, but do what is achievable within your business setting. Paid for ads. Oh God, there's so many options on paid for ads. So this, you know, obviously houseplants, shopping ads, pay-per-click ads here. There's loads and loads of different options. There's obviously sort of all the sort of brand stuff, brand display ads. I think I've got all these here. Yes, the search, display, shopping, video, app-driven stuff, smart ads, hyper-local stuff, cross-platform things. There's so many options. Little tale. I went on a Google Ads training course about a year or so ago, probably 2 or 3 years ago now. Anyway, you know, passed all the exams and whatnot. Found it really insightful. The thing I learned most on that day was I never want to manage anybody's Google AdWord campaign. It is the most complicated and such hard work. Like I would always just, I mean, like, you know, I went on the training, but always suggest that you farm it out to someone that just does that. Do you do yours in-house, Hannah? No.
No, definitely not. No, it's way too complicated. Our digital marketing agency, they have someone who's dedicated to doing sort of the ad side of it. Yeah.
It's I think on face value, it's quite perception of it is that it's quite easy to do. I think that the more you are looking for the results and the more you are trying to target the right people, then the more complicated it becomes. And actually, for the cost of paying a professional to implement a campaign for you, it just, you know, you might as well pay someone and get it right than spend a lot of time trying to sort it out yourself. All I'm saying in this workshop is there are lots of options when it comes to paid for ads digitally. I think if you're going to go into that route, one of the best places to start is to look at ad remarketing. So that's where people have gone to your website, they've left your website, and then you follow them around the internet, because you can get brand awareness and also drive traffic back to your website. And that runs on a pay-per-click basis, so you can get all that brand awareness and then only pay when people go back to your website. So you'll have all seen them. You know, I get shoe adverts all the time. Look at these lovely shoes you were looking at. Come and buy me, come and buy me. It's very effective. Well, it is on me. I buy far too many pairs of shoes. But because someone's already been to your website, they're already aware of your brands, they already know what they've been looking at, and it's just that next tipper that might get them to go back. Yeah, I would say that's a good start point if you're going to do it. Talk to a professional. My other advice on that. Affiliate marketing. So we briefly mentioned this. So this is where it's a financial recommendation model. And you would typically go through a third party such as Affiliate Futures. You need to know, for this to work effectively, you really need to know everything you possibly can about your target audience, because what you are looking to do is place adverts on sites or other websites where they have the same target audience, but it's a non-competing product or service. Yeah. And then that site drives traffic to your website and you pay on sales generated. But it does go through like this third party monitoring. So there are fees involved all the way through. Or want to think about, if you've got really good traffic going to your website and you've got quite a niche audience, could you place adverts on your site as an alternative income stream? Don't know. Just one to think about. Affiliate marketing, it used to be really popular, like maybe 15 to 20 years ago. I used to do loads of affiliate marketing. See it less now. Did some recently with a mail order company that does sort of outsize lingerie, and it did drive a lot of traffic and a lot of sales through to their website. But again, we really knew a lot about the target audience that we were after and what other types of sites they'd be on. The more you know about your target audience, the better this will work for you. Native marketing. So this is, we used to call them advertorials back in the day. So it's where you have effectively content marketing that is presented as though it is editorial, and it's presented in the style and looks like it is editorial for a website. So the Guardian have Guardian Labs, and these are all paid content, but it's very small that it says who it's been paid for by. Dropped it off there. Paid content, looks like it's presented as though it's, you know, any Guardian page, so it clearly says Guardian Labs, and it's written in their style, so you get that sort of passive endorsement. As though you think it's something that's being recommended by the Guardian, you think it's potentially a newsy sort of opinion article. Actually, it's promoting something. You know, it's quite often used by bigger brands. You see companies like Warner Leisure, HSBC, NatWest, people like that getting into doing native marketing because it's just that little drip, 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 drip. Of getting their brand out there and getting associated with the website platform. So, you know, they get an association paid for, obviously, with the Guardian and the Guardian reader. You'd like to think they're switched on enough to realise that it's paid for, but you know, the whole point is that it's written in their style. So it's like it's been passively endorsed. Yeah. Do you do any stuff like that, Hannah?
No, I've never heard of that before.
Yeah, so it can be quite expensive. I think that's the biggest drawback on it, because it's often written by a staff writer, so in the style of the publication. So you're paying for the space, you're paying for the writer, they sort out the imagery, all of that sort of stuff. It's not like you're taking space and placing an advert. The whole point is that it's replicating the style of the publication. So they can be quite pricey. A long time ago, I worked in mail order in water gardening, and we used to take advertorials just before the beginning of the season in, I'm sure it was BBC Gardener's World magazine. And at that point in time, which must be 20 years ago, for a double page spread, it was nearly £8,000.
Wow.
So, but, you know, we used to get loads of business from it. So it is expensive, but, you know, chucking it out there is an option for you. And email marketing, this is my final option really on digital marketing techniques. So with email marketing, I think consumers are, like we say, sort of evolving, and they don't just want to be sold to anymore through any channel. But I think even more so through email marketing, it's not just about selling product. It's about creating loyalty for what you offer and showing that you understand your customers as much as possible. And there's lots of chat at the moment in marketing about tribes and building tribes and all this sort of stuff. And I think, so the reason I've got Findra on here, I think they do this really well. So if you're looking for a shining example, in my opinion, of really good email marketing, sign up for the Findra newsletter. So Findra sell really nice merino clothes, and that's fine. And occasionally you get an email where they're just selling stuff. Mostly you get an email at about 7:20 on a Sunday evening, and it doesn't hardly sell anything at all. It talks about their sort of ambassador of the week and what their ambassador of the week's been up to, which mountains they've been climbing or which lakes they've been swimming in, what their ambassador of the week, you know, their favorite recipe, favorite podcast, favorite book, favorite film, sort of building this interest around the brand that they know their target audience is going to be responsive to, because you're wearing that brand because you're interested in all of that stuff. So you're going to be sort of slightly outdoorsy, you're going to do those kind of sports, you're going to be interested in what their ambassadors are doing, and you are going to want to know like which podcast they're listening to. Oh, that looks like an interesting book, I'll read that book. You can't even buy it on the Findra website. They're directing you to other places, but what they're doing is creating a tribe of people who are really invested in that brand. So it's quite a small company, but they do it really well. That sort of thing tends to work a little bit better in the consumer environment, but there's no reason why you can't take learnings from it into a business-to-business environment. So are there other things you could talk around that aren't necessarily related to what you're selling, but would be of interest? So are there developments in crane equipment? Is there a big project where there's some, you know, like, I don't know, some giant crane or super small crane or whatever, where you could talk about it that your buyers might be interested in just because it relates to their world? Do you think? Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would work. I think it definitely would work.
So it becomes more than just we're going to sell you something. It becomes something that people want
more
to
of a
read.
society.
Yeah. So, and something that people want to read. You know, like I know that Findra newsletter is going to come into my inbox at about 7:20 on a Sunday, because that's what happens. And I would say 9 times out of 10, I'll read it because it's interesting stuff to me. Do I buy their clothes? Yeah, I do. Second mortgage for some of them, but anyway, but it's really nice stuff. I could, you know, I can recommend it. You know, and right, so Tropic Skincare, they also do the same sort of stuff. They send theirs out And you know, they're talking about temperatures dropping, so they do theirs based on sort of like what's happening in the wider world, you know, and what you might be interested in. They talk about their sustainable practices, packaging. They donate money to overseas schools. There's lots of kind of things that they're talking about which people are buying into as part of the brand. So it's not just about selling the product, it's about people feeling like they've got some sort of affiliation with the brand. Yeah. What are your e-newsletters like, Hannah? I feel like you've got loads of potential for.
Yeah, it's something that I've been looking into quite recently, because we have quite a large subscriber base. But over the past sort of year or so, you send out an e-shot and you get maybe like 6 or 7 people unsubscribing to that newsletter. So you see quite a lot of people sort of not wanting to engage with it as much.
Yeah.
We do try and keep it sort of a mixture of things. Sometimes we'll have like a playground of the month, where we'll show pictures of like a newly installed playground. We'll have like products of the month. That's more sort of like the salesy side of it. But we also like to incorporate sort of what we're doing here at sort of our head office and what's happening within the business. So if we're having like a charity bake sale, or if we're having like a Halloween fancy dress, we'll put pictures of that kind of stuff on. But obviously with COVID, we haven't been able to really do any of that stuff. So you're not seeing as much sort of social content. But I always find social content works really well on social media, more than sort of the salesy content. So that's what I kind of wanted to put into the newsletters. But as I said, normally we're sending them out and we're getting like quite a few unsubscribers every time we sort of do send them out. But that's counteracted by the people that are subscribing, the newer people. You just want to kind of keep them. You just want to keep people interested, really, and that's where I'm not struggling, because the way that we send them out, we have 3 e-newsletters a month. So we have a schools one that's dedicated to our schools market, which is more about sort of school playground equipment, any offers that we've got, any competitions, and then the sort of a main one that focuses on the leisure industry, local authorities, and sort of the community side of it, which is obviously a lot different to the school side. And we also send e-shots to our distributors. So we distribute to 51 countries around the world. Obviously we have distributors, and we just want to keep them and give them the most up-to-date information about our products. So then we use that as more like a sales, a sales technique, and like informing them of new products coming up, informing them sort of what's going on with standards and so on. But yeah, like I said, I'm kind of not struggling, but I'd like to do better.
So with your people that are unsubscribing, how long have they been on your list?
It's not something that I've necessarily looked into to see how long they've actually been on the list. So
it's when you do database marketing, you tend to like segment like you have by sort of customer type, but then potentially also segment based on recency, frequency, and value. So do they purchase on a regular basis? So frequency, how recently was their purchase? So, you know, it depends on buying cycles, but, you know, for example, you'd go, well, we'll do everybody in the last 12 months, 24 months, 36 months after that, we'll call them dead, whatever. Value, you know, the people who've spent the most with you are more likely to be engaged. So what you might end up doing is subdividing your lists a bit more, so that you reduce the amount of unsubscribes and increase the open rate and click-through rate by targeting the people that really want it. So recency, frequency, and value might just be worth it. It depends how big your list is. So if your list isn't massive, sometimes you get a bit too your segments become too small. So you kind of need your list to be quite big to be able to subdivide on that. But it tends to work quite well.
I mean, we like our generally our community's audience, we have 6,000 subscribers in there.
Okay, it'd be big enough to do,
Yeah, and the schools audience is sort of very similar, similar to that size audience, where it gets smaller with the local authorities and the leisure, because they are a smaller segment of our business. Like communities and schools are quite a large segment of our business.
Yeah. So work out which segment people are unsubscribing from, and then start and think about how recently people have made a purchase, the frequency and the value. And it might also be worth looking at, if you reduce the frequency of the newsletter, would your unsubscribe rates reduce? So are you just tipping people over the edge?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes I feel like we send them out too often. So if we're looking to sort of, I know this is more about hitting targets, but if our targets are looking a little bit low, we will resend the same e-shot again, and then you do see more people unsubscribing to them.
Yeah.
So it might be sort of a frequency thing. That's a good thing to look into, to see if we're sending them too frequently.
Yeah. Potentially. Okay.
Great, thank you.
Okay, there's too many variables. That's the thing, isn't there? You can go mad with it. Yeah. Okay, so to get started on your digital marketing, so you need this plan. So where are you going to send people? Think about website being fit for purpose. Think about really who you're trying to engage with. Think about what you're going to say, how you stand out from the competition, and what makes your offer really amazing. So, we're talking value proposition really, but why people should choose you over your competition. Think about how much you're willing to invest. So what's your budget? Think about your cost per acquisition and cost for retention. And then how are you going to know if it's worked? So what are your measures? So where are you now? Where do you want to be? And how are you going to track the bit in the middle? So it's just a case of a nice, neat plan. Does anybody have any questions?
Not at the moment, I don't think so.
It's like bamboozled.
I was going to say, I think Ian's probably going, oh my God, really?
Oh my God. I hope you're not going, oh my God. The thing is with these things is you don't have to do it all at once. And that is basically just an overview, So it's like, these are the options that are available. I would never go into a business and go, you need to do this, and this, and you need to do it all now. What you need to do is think about actually what do we need to do in the short term, and for you, you're talking about your website, get your website ready. So you're getting that end piece sorted, and then think about, right, okay, how are we going to hold on to the customers we've got, and how we're going to get some new ones, and think about where they're going to be and how you're going to do that. Yeah.
Any more questions, anybody?
No, I haven't got any questions.
Okay.
Lovely.
So following on next week, we have Deborah again on an effective market plan. And it's probably worth saying that every Tuesday we have these sessions at 10 o'clock. So effective marketing plan next week, cybersecurity the following week, website the following week, and then we go on and we break it down into LinkedIn, how to use LinkedIn, how to use Twitter, how to use Facebook, and how to use some of the lesser known ones, or depending on your market, which one it is that suits you best. So, and we go all the way through to January with these. So, and they are recorded. So if you do have to leave, it's not an issue, or you can't make it, then they all go on the website. So you can catch up at a later date.